Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, home of the BitSquad, the largest, the greatest crypto community in all of the interwebs. This is Around the Blockchain. We come to you Monday through Friday every time at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's right. And I'm your host, DZ. We're going to talk about some great topics with some great guests. We're going to get right into it, starting with MacNCheeasy, whose favorite childhood game was red light, green light. I just read that on your Twitter, right? But I guess it was played a little bit differently than the Korean show. We also have Joe Parys. He just dropped a great video on Pluto Alliance yesterday on his YouTube. So make sure you go check that out. He's doing a big giveaway. He's giving away like $5,000 worth of stuff. So definitely check that out. Also, Jebb just made a pretty good video with George yesterday. That's right. Cryptos are us. We are all George. So definitely going to want to check that out. And Ben Armstrong, he's going to be replaced by TJ tomorrow. So I'm thinking he's going to make sure he's bringing the A game today because he has to leave on that high note. He has to make it very difficult for TJ to fill in those shoes. Isn't that right, Ben?
Very hard for TJ.
It's going to make it so difficult for him. That's right. And yeah, we're going to talk about some insane OpenSea sales data that just dropped for Q3. We got stock and Bitcoin maybe starting to decouple. This is going to be a huge plus for Bitcoin, of course. And we're not teasing. This is a super ultra rare Bitcoin signal. It's very seldom seen. It's been years, but when it pops and it pops hard. So you're going to definitely want to check out what we're talking about there. But first we look at the market watch here. We're going to pull up a coin market cap here. It's been a good day. It's been a really good day. I mean, Bitcoin is up almost 5%. You got Ethereum up almost 4%. Cardano up only 2%, but still up 7% on the week. We're seeing some huge gains on the weekly here. Even Solana was down, but still up 25% on the week. So it's just nuts. We look at some of the top gainers. It's the dog coin. It's Shiba. I mean, it's been pumping. I know the Shiba army's probably in the chat. If you like Shiba, let us know. It's a hot coin. People got different takes on it, but Theta, Chiliz, it makes me think of Iran. So I don't know if Iran sold it, but it's looking good, Iran. Axie Infinity has been down, but look at the 7-day chart on Axie Infinity. It's up 88%. I mean, we can't really expect it to be green all the time when something like that's happening. But Jebb, we're looking at, some insane action with Bitcoin. We rocketed past 50. I mean, what are your thoughts on the markets right now?
Very, 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 very bullish. Here's why. There is a zone of resistance that we had up until about 4 hours ago. There was $50,000 to $50,500. I broke down this on a video that went out on our channel earlier. Literally, it's outdated already. Don't even bother with it. It's a great video. You should watch it, but it's outdated because the resistance zone I was concerned about was 50 to 50,500. I had 4 major resistance levels that were sitting right there. Bitcoin needed to break 50,500. It was the gate and key back up to 53. If we break 53, we are on our way back up to all-time high. The fact that we're trading at, 51,500 right now, I think is what I saw on CoinMarketCap there. Bitcoin has broken above that. Looks like with confidence, we've had some volume come back in. The price action is looking phenomenal right now. I think we're going to be back above our local high that was set at the end of August, and then we're going to be heading back up to all-time high probably by the 1st to 2nd week of November. And I think Plan B's prediction of 63,000 by the end of the month is probably going to end up being vindicated. Looks like the next couple of weeks are going to be very bullish. I
mean, if we hit that 63, I mean, at this point, we just got to call that guy the new Chainlink because he's definitely the oracle. Now, real quick, are you worried about the greed index?
No, actually, the fear and greed index as of a couple of days ago was sitting at 20. I think it's around, I'm not sure where it is right now. The last time I looked at was Friday. On Friday, it was at 20. That's actually a very bullish thing to me because when the fear and greed index gets down to 20, it's generally a great buying opportunity. If you look at throughout history, that's normally where you want to be buying. If you had bought it a week ago, obviously, you'd be up quite a bit right now. So I actually think it's a good indicator.
All right. Well, yeah, and we're going to definitely talk more about Bitcoin, the final segment here. But first, let's talk about some OpenSea data. This is huge. This is totally insane. I actually have some charts here that just we'll look at it in a second. But now the Q1 data, I mean, we'll look at it now right here. So, I mean, you can see what's happening here. So this right here, this line, this is July. And then where it says 8, you can see September. And then you see, I mean, that's August. And then we have September, number 9. This right here, the 10, that's only 4 days. This is the sales volume for 4. It's the monthly active for 4 days. This is October 4th, and we're already that high. So I mean, it doesn't appear that
I thought we were. I thought we already peaked.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Well, Ben,
we've already got a top sign. It's over.
I mean, Ben, a lot of people, there's two camps. One, oh, there's only, 250,000 wallets trading these NFTs. And then other people saying, oh, this bubble's about to pop. It's about to pop. Where do you land on this, Ben?
Glamping.
You're glamping. Okay.
Glamping for sure. That's we're not camping over here. Okay. We might go out to the woods and do some hunting, but we're still glamping. Listen, here's what I've been telling people for a while. However, this is a quote from somebody on Twitter. I can't remember who said this, but they said, however bullish you are on NFTs, you're not bullish enough. And that's how I feel about this. The people in crypto, it's an echo chamber. The hardcore crypto people do not understand how bullish NFTs are for mainstream, for adoption, and for bringing, just a new layer of people into crypto. I think that we get too caught up in crypto of thinking in terms of the 4-year crypto market cycle. And we want to apply that to everything. This does not apply to NFTs. I keep trying to tell people this. NFT prices are not on a 4-year crypto market cycle. They are on their own cycle. So when we are typically looking for things that would be top signals in crypto, it doesn't necessarily apply to NFTs. We have no track record. We have no history to base what we think NFTs are going to do on. We don't have that. It doesn't exist. So look, as long as, people are out there talking about NFTs and more people are jumping in, more professional athletes, more use cases are getting made, more chains are launching NFTs, they'll continue to go up in value. You just have to be selective. I mean, every single NFT out there is not going to pump overnight. That's just not how it is going to be. But your winners, because here's what we haven't seen. We have not seen a stage yet where we see kind of a consolidation to the top projects where like the Bored Ape Yacht Club and the Crypto Punks and Gary V's Doodle Art and Pluto Alliance, where these types of projects, where all of a sudden a lot of the smaller money and the smaller NFTs start flowing up into these. We haven't seen this yet. So we could just be in the beginning of this cycle. We don't know. We've got nothing to base it off of other than kind of the feeling that some people have sometimes looking at the numbers. But I would tell people the numbers we're seeing for NFTs are nothing compared to the early days of Bitcoin, to the early returns that Bitcoin gave back. Nothing in comparison to that. Greatest asset in human history. So however great these NFT returns, Bitcoin returns were still greater at the beginning. And if we were to do all this over again, if Bitcoin were to launch today, like let's assume, this is going to sound crazy, but let's assume that Bitcoin didn't exist, but crypto did. And when Bitcoin came out, it still did exactly what Bitcoin has done price-wise, right? If Bitcoin launched today, within a year, people were saying, this thing's topped out. It'll never go up higher. It'll never go up higher. But then you see what it's done. It's just ripped and ripped and ripped. We have the history to go on to know where we think it should go at certain points. We do not have this for NFT market. It will run counter to the 4-year cycle.
No, you're definitely accurate with that. I look at the data. I'm living and eating and sleeping and breathing these NFTs, and we haven't got a consolidation period. If anything, the price will go down for a whopping 4 days, and then next thing you know, someone just bought a bunch more punks, somebody bought a bunch more Bored Ape yachts, and then next thing you know, everything starts popping up. So yeah, with Q1, sales were 1.2 billion, Q2 1.3 billion, Q3, we're talking about July, August, September, it was over 10 billion. So we've seen a 10x from what people are saying. Oh, the markets are frothy. We had the Beeple auction in March, 69 million. But no, it just seems to keep accumulating and going higher and higher. Now, Joe Parys, I know you just did a video on NFTs, and we're looking at the active wallets. There's only 250,000 for all of Q3. It's around 260,000. That's how many active wallets we're trading in the NFT space. Now, do we even really need mainstream adoption to get to the next level, or are we just kind of already on a good pace?
Well, thanks, DZ, for having me back on the show. And Ben, really a pleasure to be here as always. And we are so insanely early to this. I mean, it's like literally getting back into Bitcoin. I wouldn't say back in like 2008, 2009, but like you're like literally only a couple of years after that. And you see this by obviously the number of users, but also too, just the amount of X's you can really do in some of these projects. And I had one of my students who bought Pluto Alliance NFTs at Mint because obviously that was just on my radar. He made a 20x on one of his Pluto Alliance NFTs from Mint. And it's absolutely insane. And these things are happening even more at the larger scale coins. Like you have things like Cyberkongs. It's like 160 ETH for the floor price. Now, the mint price was nowhere near that, and that's hundreds of thousands of dollars. And so if you are even just listening to this video, you are so far ahead of everyone else. Like, we can't even describe how early we truly are. So I definitely want to echo Ben on that. And definitely hard to follow up on the question here, because Ben did such a phenomenal job of answering that. But honestly, just continue to keep learning and studying. And the thing that I really like about NFTs right now, you don't need millions of dollars to get into this. There was a statistic that said, I think 20% of all NFT sales were right around like $100 to $1,000. So this gives the average retail user a chance to come in and really make some incredible gains, but also have some fun in cryptocurrency and really get their feet wet. There's not a whole lot of barriers to entry. You set up a MetaMask, you go to OpenSea, you play around, you click the mint button. Yeah, there's some gas fees that are a little obnoxious, but overall, once you kind of learn the process, it's not too intense where you have to KYC or sign up for a Coinbase or all these other things that crypto kind of has to offer. And so I'm super excited about NFTs. There's some amazing projects out there, and there's some amazing YouTubers sharing some incredible projects. So keep your ear to the ground on NFTs. I don't think it's going anywhere, and I don't think we've seen anything yet.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. We haven't really, and it's actually even a higher number than that. 1,000 to 100 was above 50%. It was around 60%. Under $100 was around, I think, 15%. So it was about 75% are priced under 1,000. To me, the big takeaway there is 25% are over 1,000. So looking at over a third of an ETH. Now, MacNCheeasy, I know you're in the space. You're looking at them. You love them here. But Ben brought up a good point about, this isn't really following the Bitcoin cycle. Now, would you consider NFTs a good hedge for Ethereum during a bear market? The good ones, that is.
So Ben had touched on it. It's a brand new asset class, and it doesn't necessarily move through the cycles because we don't know that to be true. We don't know it to be false. It is brand new. So we have to take it like as we go and kind of take new data points and learn. In terms of your question regarding an asset class to invest in, so if you're betting on an NFT on Ethereum, I look at almost like a leveraged long on Ethereum. So because let's say something like a CryptoPunk is worth 10 Ethereum and that stays flat, but if Ethereum increases in price, you're actually getting that exposure to the Ethereum asset because it's still tied to Ethereum. Now, if the Ethereum price of the actual NFT increases as well, now you have a leverage long on Ethereum itself. Regarding the entire NFT space and why it's so exciting and how we're so new, Joe, you had touched on it, that the barrier to entry is very, very small. And there's a thing called asymmetric risk that not a lot of investments in the world actually have. And traditionally, they're reserved for the financial elite and wealthy. Some examples of this are like pre-IPO tech companies, getting in on the seed round of these major companies that you need a lot of capital to. And then that gives you the opportunity for asymmetric risk. Asymmetric risk has to do with the downside being somewhat limited and the upside being somewhat boundless. Now, with these NFTs, we're seeing 19x. Joe, you had touched on it, a 20x for Pluto Alliance. On our channel, The Incubator, we are playing with Solana NFTs, and the entry price for a lot of these is 0.1 Sol, and it has 0 gas fees. That means that it costs less than $20 to get into a specific NFT. Most people in the world can get into that project, and I sold one today for 190x, 20 Sol, a 0.1 entry. This is so new, and people can get in and start learning about it. And Jebb, you talk about this all the time. The best thing you can do is invest in yourself and start learning. And this is even more of an asymmetric risk because the worst case is you learn about a technology that's going to be around for the future. And this is brand new. So you're both learning and you get the opportunity to get exposure to these assets.
Good job. Good job on that 20x there. Now, I'm going to ask you kind of a scary question here, CryptoJeBB. This is getting scary now. If the NFT bubble pops, could this actually be a catalyst that takes down the entire crypto segment, including Bitcoin?
I am so glad you asked me this, DZ. Here's the thing. Is the NFT space a bubble? This is a big question that people are asking right now. I don't think the NFT space is a bubble, but I think certain NFT projects very well may be. What do I mean by this? There are a lot of NFTs that are going to do very well, but in the same way that as an asset class matures, we've seen this happen in cryptocurrency, a couple of big gainers really eat up a lot of the market capitalization. I think we would agree that the top 5 layer 1 protocols for building decentralized applications have eaten up over 90% of the market capitalization. Right now, there's a lot of NFT projects out there that probably aren't going to survive as long as some of the bigger players, like the ones that we've talked about already. I don't think NFTs are going anywhere. I think the NFT market and the NFT industry is only going to grow massively. I think it hasn't even gotten started yet. I completely agree with what the other panelists have already said. But the thing is, I think that we're so early on in this that some of the NFT projects are going to more than 100x from here, and a lot of them are going to disappear into nothing. That being said, I completely agree with what MacNCheeasy was saying. There is a lot of asymmetric risk here, and I'm not saying that NFTs are a bad thing to get into. I think they're absolutely not. Here's the thing, though. NFTs are actually one of the reasons why I think the next bear market that Bitcoin goes through is not going to be quite as bad as the ones that we've seen in the past. Because as the 4-year cycle that Ben's talking about plays out, yes, we should be expecting some kind of bear market in the next 6 to 12 months on Bitcoin. That's what we've seen based on the halving cycle throughout the history of the Bitcoin market. I think that the NFT space, along with the decentralized application space and the DeFi ecosystem, which now has a total value locked of $195 billion, and there was a report that there was $6.6 trillion in volume on Ethereum over the last 12 months, these spaces are going to help to prop up the cryptocurrency market when Bitcoin is having trouble continuing to rally as a result of that 4-year cycle. I think NFTs are going to be part of that. But the thing you guys have to realize is that NFTs are not something that people invest in because they want to store their value. It's not a need, it is a want. People invest in NFTs, yes, because there's a lot of returns, absolutely. But a lot of people also buy NFTs just because it's fun. If people start struggling to be able to pay the bills because of all of the issues that we're having in the global economy over the next 2 or 3 years, then the NFT space might have trouble growing. But I do think that the NFT space is not going to bring down crypto. I think it actually might bring up the bottom of the future bear market that we should be seeing at some point.
I don't know. I need my Pluto Alliance. Ben, did you have a hot take here?
Yeah, I did. I did want to say, I think what Jebb is saying is very good. I know this is going to shock some people.
Whoa.
I agree with Jebb. But what I was saying, it's tough. Look, Jebb is my best friend of me, other than TJ. So here's the thing, though. What he's missing and what he didn't say when he was talking about the projects that will eat up the capitalization is that I believe the ones that will go to the top and stay at the top, like Pluto Alliance, we think Pluto Alliance, the potential is still untapped, is projects that continue to innovate, do more stuff, continue to give back to their holders, and provide utility for the NFTs. There will come a time where having a JPEG is not enough, right? So at Pluto Alliance, you get airdrops from different projects. You get special opportunities because you own those NFTs. Gary Vee gets it. Gary Vee is doing this. He understands. Providing utility is the key. We're actually, this is top secret. I can't say who it is, but I will tell you, Pluto Alliance, we're working on a game with a major chain. So we got to keep that kind of under wraps. Can't tell you exactly what's coming. But the point is, there's more utility and more use coming. Projects that think it's okay to just create art and let it sit there, those will tap out at some point.
All right.
Totally
Ben Armstrong dropping the Pluto Alpha right there. Well, let's run through the second topic so we can make sure we talk about Bitcoin here. Now, I have a little graph here, and it's talking about basically stocks and Bitcoin starting to decouple. You see the SPY, this S&P index here. It's dropping. It's dropping like bird crap. And I mean, meanwhile, yeah, we had a little bit of capitulation with the Bitcoin price, but it's kind of speaking to the broader decoupling that we've had. Now, NASDAQ yesterday had their worst day since Q2, since like all the way back in June. I think the S&P 500, they've lost 5% since September 2nd. And meanwhile, we've seen Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're starting to go on their way up, but we're starting to see maybe a little bit of decoupling here. Now, Joe Parys, why does Bitcoin and stocks traditionally move in tandem?
Well, they typically go in tandem because they're both assets that people want to trade their fiat money for, right? If you're holding on to fiat money that is being deflated by a lot every single year, you're looking to find an asset that's going to do the opposite. It's going to grow in value. Traditionally, stocks have been maybe a little bit less volatile, especially because the market has been a lot, just more refined, right? It's been older, it's been around longer, and where cryptocurrency kind of is a little bit more speculative because it's newer, right? But typically, right, people are trying to find ways to increase their dollar, euro, yen value. And typically that's why they go up. But I wanted to say something here because this decoupling, I want to play a little bit of devil's advocate for the viewers here. Typically, October is one of the worst months traditionally for the stock market, and typically for crypto, it's one of the best. And so, yes, we are starting to see this decoupling happening, but I just want people to be aware we're kind of entering in this last phase, we all believe, for the Bitcoin bull run. So people might be thinking to themselves, well, how could I double or triple my stock value if we know traditionally it's going to be going down during these months? Well, maybe I hedge a little bit and put a little bit more risk into the cryptocurrency markets, right? And then that ends up making the cryptocurrency markets go up as well. And so I do think that, yeah, there might be some decoupling, but traditionally we have not seen that because people, again, are putting assets, or they're taking their fiat money and putting it into these assets. And traditionally, between both the stock market and cryptocurrency, they've done and overperformed the dollar, the euro, and the yen.
No, that's you bring up two good points. Yeah, I mean, traditionally they do move in tandem, but October is known as the fluke month, where it is bad for stock market and good for crypto, generally speaking. And as far as moving away from that, Mr. Wonderful, aka Kevin O'Leary, did just state today or yesterday that for the first time ever, he has more crypto than gold. So yeah, I mean, maybe we're starting to see that naturally happen anyways. Now, MacNCheeasy, are they too intertwined? Do we just have too much to do with fiscal policy and GDP output and, just too many macro events for them to ever decouple entirely? Or could that possibly happen?
One thing, it is Uptober. So smash the like button if you're ready for Uptober. It is Uptober. So this is expected in the crypto market. Now, in terms of them moving in tandem.
Excuse me, MacNCheeasy. It's Pumptober.
Oh, yes.
I'm a Uptober.
Correction.
I'm Uptober. I'm sorry. I'm Uptober, fam.
It's definitive Pumptober. It's like a pumpkin. Pumptober.
That's a good argument.
To me, that's like a BJ stretch there. We're going. I'll give you a point.
Stretch. What is?
So Pumptober, Uptober, whatever we're gonna call it. I think the assets. So one thing that I need to see for me to be confident that they're truly decoupled is Bitcoin specifically, right? It is pitched. It is this store of value. It is this replacement to gold. So what do we see historically when the traditional security market starts decreasing in value? Money moves from these speculative assets like equities, like tech companies, and moves into a store of value like gold. What I would like to see is the money flow when these start losing their price over a prolonged period of time to flow from these speculative assets to something that is described as a store of value like Bitcoin. So once we see a prolonged decrease in these securities, and rather than gold going up, we see Bitcoin going up, that's when I think I'm going to be confident in saying, okay, the market has finally adjusted and they realize that Bitcoin's a better store of value, in turn, the crypto market as a whole.
All right, real quick, last question on this topic so we can talk about Bitcoin more in depth here. Now, Jebb, if, say, there's a black swan event and stock market crashes hard in October, how much can it bring down Bitcoin, or will it at all?
It depends on how deep that crash is, because a lot of people talk about corrections in the stock market of when you go below like 18-20%, then people start talking recession. That's what you see historically. That's why people were worried last March. If the stock market corrects 5-10%, I don't think it would necessarily have a big impact on Bitcoin and crypto. But if there's a black swan event big enough to crash the stock market 10, 15, 20%, then that would probably lead to a lot of global FUD, the same way we saw with Evergrande over the last several weeks. That could lead to declining prices in Bitcoin. The answer to your question really depends on how bad that that black swan is, because the worse it is, the more it's going to impact it. But there's definitely going to be an impact. It just depends on how large it would be.
All right, well, let's just hope it's Uptober/Pumptober, whatever you want to call it. Let's just hope everything's going up. All right, well, let's talk about the last topic here, the ultra rare Bitcoin buy signal. We've been teasing it. I'm going to go ahead and just show you on the screen here. It gets a little bit tech heavy, so I don't want to try to bog you down in the details here, but it's essentially a difficulty algorithm. And you can see on the top where this blue line is, it's going to be a smaller time frame. I think it's a 9-day. On the bottom, it's a longer time frame. I think it's 200. So in 2018, December, we had a huge difficulty adjustment. Basically, this price was around, I want to say 3,000. Miners just cut off their rig, right? And then around here, you see them, they cut it back on. Well, right when the blue line crosses this red line, what do you see happening to the price action? Well, looks like it goes up and to the right, as Richard Hart likes to say. Well, we just had another instance of this happen. Now, this doesn't happen often. It happened last time in 2018. And, I mean, we're seeing a little bit of similarities here. Now, this is the China exodus that made this happen. So we're seeing, basically the miners are coming back online. They had to move them out of mainland China, Kazakhstan, Texas. They went all over the globe, basically just spread all over the place. F2 pool is still operating, but yeah, we saw a huge mining exodus, and now maybe the chart is going to signal, this is going to go up. So, MacNCheeasy, can you just give me just a real brief, explain like I'm 5, why is difficulty for Bitcoin mining good for the price?
Yep. So if you go back to the 2018 portion of that chart, right, that is looking at Bitcoin miners turning back on. So how Bitcoin mining works effectively, it is think of it like an apartment online, but the rent is paid in Bitcoin. If it becomes not profitable for you to actually have this apartment rented, you just won't let people in because it costs more than you're actually getting. But now if it becomes profitable, then you'll start filling those apartments with people and you'll start getting this rental income. So what these Bitcoin miners are, they're taking the energy and they're producing Bitcoin. So if the energy costs more than the Bitcoin, they're just going to turn them off. Now, what we've seen historically, right, is as this difficulty adjustment has increased, which is basically how hard it is to get Bitcoin and when you're mining it, as this difficulty adjustment increases, this indicates that these miners believe that the price of Bitcoin is going to go up because they have these machines, they're turning them back on because they anticipate that Bitcoin, the asset that they're getting paid in, will appreciate in value. This one is a little bit interesting because these miners are coming back online, but I think the speed and the velocity at which that they've came back from this China exodus is an indication of how much and how quickly that these mining facilities, they want to get back online because they're like, we do not want to miss out on this opportunity to make Bitcoin sub 50K, sub 60K, because they anticipate where the market's going to go. And as a lot of us are, as Jebb touched on it in the beginning, it's looking bullish.
Yeah, don't tell Michael Saylor you have some Bitcoin mining rigs offline. You'll probably shed a tear.
Not my rigs.
I don't know.
My rigs are always running.
He'll give you a 30-minute lecture. Now, Ben, a lot of people are saying, this is a fluke situation because of the China exodus. Do you think that those circumstances are making this data faulty, or is this still like a really bullish signal for you?
Can you pop it back up on the screen?
Yeah, we got it right here. This is the 2021, and you can see the 2018 here. So, yeah, there we go. Let me know if you want me to zoom in. So, what you thinking?
Am I here?
I think you're muted. Okay, there you go. You good? Did you freeze? He's froze. Up, there you go. All right, I was like, I've never seen Ben contemplate something so hard before. He was really into it.
Frozen for a while. It's acting like real laggy over here on my end. So here, with that popped up on the screen, do you...
I think TJ may have
Insightful.
sabotaged him. We might get a turn off the Wi-Fi scream. Up, he's gone, and just like that, he's prowling the hallways. I see him walk by.
He's
he might
so
even
bullish.
say,
He had to go to the exchange right now.
Is he coming in? Oh, I love it.
I'll let you...
Is he coming into this? There he is.
I'm hosting my own dank show now. Can somebody move the camera down so I don't look like a small person? Gotta hate all of you right now.
I love it.
Thanks.
I love it.
Welcome to my show. Can you pop that back up on the screen? BJ, or who's back there? Frankie? We let Frank out of the cage for this? Move it back to 2018. Move it back to 2018. Oh, it's here. Here it is. DZ. Oh, God. Do you know what this is?
That's when Bitcoin hit around 3,000.
Yeah, but do you know what was occurring at that time?
It was the bear winter.
You pull the camera back up.
Is it maybe China banned for the 80th time? China banned for the 80th time?
No. I will not buy any argument that this is a fluke based on, dang right, based on that this is some kind of manipulation. That was the great hash wars of 2018. This was when Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV separated. This is when Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin Associates Vision, that was total manipulation, even more manipulation, I would say, than what we've just seen with the China FUD. And I don't know what's going on my screen. I don't know why it's not working. But I do want to say this point. If people are thinking this is a false indicator because something was different back then, 100% not the case. This is something similar, complete plan manipulation. So I think this is extremely bullish. I think we're about to see this thing go to the moon. I'm going to go back to my corner. And if you could raise the camera back up, I can't believe I have to say that. And hopefully, I don't know what's going on with my Wi-Fi over there. It's lagging. I'm freezing a bunch. So
turn it off. There you go. All right. All right. Did y'all like that? I like that. That was good. That was good stuff.
I was a fan of that.
That was a good point. No, it's a good point. And, you know, I will say this. No, that is a good point where, yeah, they're both flukes and they're both, I don't want to say black swan events because, you know, it should happen a little more rare. But no, you raised a good point that maybe they aren't as dissimilar as you might think at first. Now, yeah, so when it hit that low last time, it was 3,200. They shut off their rigs, and it was 164 days they were back online. This time, it was 120 days. Now, Joe Parys, is mining, would you consider that the biggest indicator of the asset price, or would you say it's, you know, leverage trading, speculation, OTC deals? What would you say the biggest influence on Bitcoin prices?
Well, smash up the like button for Ben coming over and taking over the show. And DZ, you didn't even give him any points. So, Ben, you can have a few of my points, bud.
We'll give him a few. No, he got some good points in.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, look, mining is one indicator, right? You know, and you have to take it seriously because if there's no mining, then that's not good, right? Just to, you know, keep it simple for the folks that it's crazy to think about a lot of the influence and influencers, some that we probably don't even want to name on this channel, how they were able to swing the prices of Bitcoin earlier this year. And so while mining is, yes, one indicator, and I do definitely think that we're coming into a point of time with all these miners turning back on, that definitely indicates a healthy market and shows that there's real demand now, right? If there's more people that are willing to mine for something and pay electricity for something, that shows you that there's going to be a demand. That also shows you that if there's more of them coming online, more people, there's more competition there, right? So that's all good things. But to answer the question, it is just one indicator. So continue to do your research on all of the other narratives and things that are happening in the market right now, because there are a lot of them. And I think that it's important to be well-rounded when it comes to investing. You don't want to get stuck in one little area and go, oh, well, the miners are turning everything back on, so I'm just going to put all my money into Bitcoin because it just looks like it's going up. Use that as one, you know, little indicator here, but try to get a well-rounded approach to everything. I think that you'll be much better off that way as well.
Okay, yeah, this is fair advice. When it comes to info, don't put all your eggs in one basket here. Now, Tara Sardo is saying the number one indicator is Mercury being in retrograde. I think that might be Spiderwolf with the alt account there. Now, we're gonna wrap it up here. I'm gonna ask everybody this question here. I'll start with Ben, I'll start with CryptoJeBB and end it on you, Joe. Now, Raoul Paul, you know, he's expecting a 3 to 6x. Plan B saying, you know, late Q4. I want to say he's 126, 120-ish range. Then you got, you know, the bears, and many of whom I respect, you know, like Crypto Savvy. You're saying, you know, I've even heard Crypto Face say this. No, 64 was the top. Now, for Q4, I'm going to try, you know, no hard date here, but where are you landing for Q4?
I think though a lot of those analysts, such as Plan B, who's predicting I think 126,000 is the floor or something by the end of December, I think he's on the right track. And the reason is because there's almost no resistance back up to all-time high. Right now, we have broken 50,500, which was a big level I was looking at. We're at 5150 right now. 53 is the next big level that we need to break through. If we break that, we're kind of on the way back to 63,000, 64,000, the all-time high. And the thing you guys got to realize is right now, on the note of that hash rate, the hash rate is increasing right now faster than we ever have. If you hadn't have had the China FUD come in, the hash rate right now should be at like 200 million terahash. Instead, it had a massive drop down to around 80, and now it's rallying again with all those miners coming back online and with new miners coming online. There's a lot of fundamental adoption, and the thing is, right now, the retail is sitting on the sidelines saying, Bitcoin's still kind of boring. When we see Bitcoin break 53,000, that local high, and start returning back to all-time high, we're going to see an influx of FOMO, the likes of which that we've never seen before, and we're going to see a massive run back up towards 100K. And frankly, I think 100K is going to look similar to what we saw in 2017 when everybody was calling 10,000, and then we got there, but there was still a lot more fuel in the tank, and we jetted all the way up to 20. I think we're going to see that parabolic rally starting sometime toward the end of Q4, spilling over into Q1 of next year.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that because I was going to do a little bit of pushback, but you mentioned it. I would say, just from a TA level, and I don't do as much as you or Wendy or them, but yeah, we need to turn 53 into support because that would be a higher low from the. But Ben, so for Q4, I think I know where you're going to be landing on this, but what are your thoughts for Q4? Where are you leaning?
$748,000,
right,
937 and 21 cents. Of course, 21 cents for Satoshi.
Yeah, I get a Lambo now, I think.
I honestly believe, I don't know why, but everybody knows the ranges I've said. We went back, of course, at some point, we believe 200, 300,000. We don't believe that anymore. We believe it's going to be 100,000, basically, and then get pulled back. The number that I just feel in my soul is 109,000. That's the number I feel in my soul. So that would basically be the brakes getting slammed on at 100, but the retail momentum carrying it up further. It could peak from 100. It could peak from like 98 to 109, and then be back down at 100 in a 2-day period.
All right. Well, Ben, how dare you take in new data and then change your mind? How dare you? How dare you? I want you to say the same thing in January as well as September. All right. Now,
pretty consistent. Pretty consistent.
MacNCheeasy, where are you landing for Q4? Are you leaning a little bearish or a little bullish?
I'm bullish. I think north of 100K is reasonable. I do think it's important to note that I'm in the camp that I think that it's going to be a little less elastic in a sense that the peak isn't going to peak as quickly as it did in like 2017. I think it's a function of the size of the market cap of Bitcoin specifically. We're sitting at around 1 trillion. At 100K, that's another trillion. So we're looking at a $2 trillion market cap. So I think these are all things to consider with how high it goes. But I think the bull market is here. It's Uptober, it's Pumptober, and I'm hoping for north of 100K.
All right. And Joe, we're gonna end it with you. Are you leaning a little bearish? Are you leaning a little bullish here? How's Q4 looking for you?
Well, unfortunately, I don't have the green screen behind me today. I'm, in a different location.
So bearish. You're bearish.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more. I think 100K is obviously still in the cards. And my dad texted me a couple of days ago, and he said, "Oh, the market's moving, up. It's Bitcoin's moving above 50,000." And I said 100,000, and he said, "That's bold." And so I do believe that a lot of retail investors still think that 100K, like that's a huge psychological number for people. And I mean, when you think about it, for a retail investor to come in and go, well, am I going to buy Bitcoin at 100,000? Like that's a lot of money for a lot of people. And so while I am extremely bullish and I do think that we will get there, I do think this is going to be a different cycle. I do think we will see something different. And I don't know if we're going to see that massive blow off top. I hate to say this, Ben, because I'm with you on 99% of the things that you say. I do think we could lengthen a little bit here. I could see things going into 22 a little bit. And, we will see what happens, though.
All right, 100K. That's a bold strategy, Cotton Eye Joe, but we'll see how it plays out. Now, I was leaning 88 the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and now I'm actually leaning a little towards Christmas Eve around mid-90s. So that's my take. But Ben, I think it was the Joe threw you those extra points, reminded me. So with that, you stole the victory and set that bar high. Most importantly, you set the bar high for TJ tomorrow. So go ahead and give us some parting thoughts and tell the people what they want to hear.
Well, thank you, and thank you for those words, Joe Bearish Parys. And I'd like to say, if you believe in the lengthened cycles, then that's okay. Maybe we can believe in heightening. Maybe I can add a couple inches to the top up here. We have discovered height plastic surgery is possible. Wow. So I tell you what, Joe, when we're there for the World Series of Poker in the first week in November, person to person, you can apologize to me. Thank you.
All right. I'm in Vegas as it is right now, Ben. So I will be happily.
All right. Well, we might have some more Hit Network content coming your way, but that is all we got time for today. We'll be back 11:31 a.m. with the morning stream. So make sure you check that out. That's all we got time for today, BitSquad. Easy out.